What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm here back for NFL Week 18 picks and predictions. We've had a really strong season. Thank you guys for being with me all season long. Last week we were 14-1 straight up on my picks. The only game that I got wrong was the Colts at the Giants game. I was this close to picking the Giants, but our season total is now 176 and 79, which is a 68.63% win rate on the season. So we're not mad about that whatsoever. I think we've had a really strong season up to this point. So with that said, let's get into this week's picks. I think that there is some value to this week's picks. It's obviously going to be challenging, the last week of the season. But let's get started with the first game here, the first Saturday game, the Browns at the Ravens. The Ravens are at minus 18. Obviously, the Ravens, they want to win this game to clinch the division title. And then you're looking at the Browns, who are starting DTR, who's probably one of the worst starting quarterbacks in the league. But minus 18 just feels a little bit steep, so I'm probably going to stay away from this game. But I obviously love the Ravens to win this game at home. Then you have the Bengals at the Steelers. This feels like a toss-up game, really a 50-50 split for me. There's reasons kind of to like both. I think people are a little bit lower on the Steelers than they should be because, they've played solid teams. The last 2 weeks, they played the Ravens and the Chiefs. Obviously, they lost to both those teams, but those are good teams. And then you're looking at the Steelers. This is the second game in a row at home for them, so I think that that's a big deal as well. And the Bengals, I've liked the way that they've been playing. Obviously, Joe Burrow's probably playing the best football in the league right now out of anybody. But you just look at the opponents that they've beaten in the last 4 games, the Cowboys, the Titans, the Browns, and the Broncos. I'm not super impressed with that. So, give me the Bengals. I'm probably leaning Bengals -3 here, but I would probably stay away from betting this game. Then you have the Bears at the Packers. The Packers are at -9 right now. I like the Packers, obviously, to win the game outright, but this one feels a little bit steep to me as well. Obviously, the last time that these two teams played, it was, pretty close. I think it was 20-19. But the Bears, how did they keep it close last game against the Packers? They were able to run the ball effectively. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it as effectively against the Packers in this game. I think that the Packers are going to force Caleb Williams to throw the ball, and I just don't really see the Bears or Caleb Williams being all that motivated. So give me the Packers to win this game at home in Green Bay. It's going to be cold. It's going to be an interesting game, but I would probably stay away from this game as well. Then you go to the Texans at the Titans. I actually like the Texans to win this game outright. The Texans, I know they're probably not going to have some of their starters out there because they've obviously already clinched their division. But the Titans, to me, they're kind of in tank mode. They're also not going to have Tony Pollard, who's one of the best players for them all season. And this is a team, the Titans, that keeps on going from Rudolph to Levis at the quarterback position. So I think that that's a mess as well. And the Titans are just a team that likes to beat themselves. So give me the Texans to win that game outright. I really like that one. Then you have the Giants at the Eagles, another one that I really like. I like the Eagles -3.5. Obviously we don't really know who the Eagles are going to be starting at quarterback, and they're probably going to be resting a lot of their stars, but give me the Eagles. I think despite that, they're still, they still have more talent than the Giants. The Giants, they did beat the Colts last week 45-33, but it took 5 total touchdowns from Drew Lock to beat Flacco. So I think that that kind of says it all. So give me the Eagles in Philadelphia. There's not a lot of science to that game, but I do like them a lot, -3.5. You have the Chiefs at the Broncos. The Broncos are at -10. That game kind of feels a little bit steep for me. The Chiefs are obviously starting Carson Wentz. I would expect Sean Payton to put up a pretty nice game plan against Carson Wentz, and I think that he's probably going to struggle a little bit. Hasn't seen a lot of field time in a long time, so I like the Broncos here. They've had a really solid defense all season long. Bo Nix has had his ups and downs, but I think he has a pretty solid day, especially against this Chiefs defense that's not going to have a lot of their starters. Then you look at the Chargers at the Raiders. I like the Chargers -5.5. Obviously, these two teams have a lot of history together. The Raiders have kind of, had the Chargers number in the last game of the season, the last couple of years. They've had some big moments, obviously. So I think the Chargers, this game means a lot to them. I think that they're going to want to put that in the past. They're going to want to win this game convincingly. Jim Harbaugh is the type of coach that's going to want to get to 11 wins. And, obviously the Chargers have already clinched a playoff spot. But I think that with this Jim Harbaugh mentality, I think Harbaugh might even put Herbert in this game, even though he doesn't have to start the game. Give me the Chargers to win this game. I like this pick a lot, -5.5 Chargers in Vegas. You have the Seahawks at the Rams. The Seahawks, I like the way that their defense has been playing. I think that they have a lot of solid weapons as well. And Geno Smith isn't playing half bad. But I just like the Rams in this spot, especially in Los Angeles. I think the coaching for the Rams is better. And I think that the Rams and Matt Stafford have been in more of these situations than the Seahawks have. So give me the Rams here, especially in Los Angeles. The number's +3 here. Then you have the Dolphins at the Jets. I like this one, -2.5 Dolphins. I think the Jets are just kind of another one of those teams that's really dysfunctional. You saw Aaron Rodgers really struggle last week versus the Bills, didn't even put up much of an effort. I thought Tyrod Taylor played a lot better than he did, in the fourth quarter of the game. I think the Dolphins, they absolutely need this game. Tua is going to be banged up, but I expect him to play this game, and I expect them to play their hearts out. I like the -2.5 here for the Dolphins. Give me them to win the game outright. And then the last game I'm going to talk about here is the Vikings at the Lions. We haven't seen the Lions play. They're going to play the 49ers tonight, so we'll see how that goes. But that's going to be a long road trip for them. They're going to have to play today in San Francisco and then fly back to Detroit. Obviously, that game is going to be in Detroit, but the Vikings, they have a day's rest on them, and they're already in Minnesota. They don't have much travel time to Detroit, so I think that plays a factor. This is really a toss-up game. I don't think that there's a convincing answer here. I'm probably leaning Vikings here, though, with all of that travel and all of that, but I think it's really anybody's game here. Give me the Vikings, though. But I think it will be close. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. You guys can find the rest of my picks down in the description box below. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys later during the playoff time and everything like that. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.